What does Yoko Ono and Ethiopians have in common? They both live off dead Beatles.
Grab a jam, I swear, when it's so down. It's my podcast. This guy's insane. Rock your brain. It's just a song. Let's leave here out.
Hey, a new Vieira Vault. Wow, it's about time. I want to apologize to everybody out there that's been writing me saying, where's the next Vieira Vault? And I really do appreciate you guys wanting to hear a new Vieira Vault. I've been very busy. You know, I got a regular job and also working on new Thrash or Die material. I have a new side project called, what's it called again? Nutritional Yeast Infection, where it's me and this girl doing duets, and it's very vile. It makes the mentors sound like Disney. And also, you know, my radio show and the Rock and Metal Combat podcast where we record weekly. So I've been very, and other stuff too that I don't want to talk about, sexual. But here's the thing. I did more than this episode. There's many other episodes I already have in the can. So you won't have to wait that long between episodes. This one, I did the Beatles Discography with the great Nathan Lewis, TikTok man, and it is so good. I had so much fun talking about the Beatles with my buddy, and we went on a bit too long, so I'm cutting this down to 2 parts. That way, there's even an additional episode we're going to have. So you won't have to wait that long for new Vieira Vaults for now. But I could go on and on, but shit. I want the Vieira Vault to get right into it. When you see a subject on there, most podcasts will like babble and work their way into it. No, I think this is enough. I think what have I been talking about? A minute or so? Let's get into it. Here is the great TikTok man, Nathan Lewis, and myself talking about the Beatles. Roll it. All right, now we're going to talk about the Beatles discography, and it's with great honor. I have somebody that I consider a really true cool dude. Only met him once, but that was enough. What an impact. I'm talking about the one and only Nathan Lewis, TikTok man. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fucking awesome. Thank you, Dr. Fuck, for having me back. This is a huge honor. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, dude. I couldn't think of anybody better for the Beatles discography. And just to give a little note, you know, TikTok is a guy that we discovered through, was it the YouTube comments he did? Was it YouTube comments? I think it was.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, yep. And there were brilliant comments. It was hilarious. And then we had him on our show. And I believe we did Rubber Soul, right?
Yes, we did.
We did Rubber Soul. Then we met. He came to the Rock and Pod Expo. And boy, if you want to see some hilarious shit, TikTok behind us flexing.
Yeah, that was a little uncomfortable. I didn't know what the doing. Well, I don't know. I mean, it felt a little gay. You're like, hey, dude, get up here and flex behind me. But I got into it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, TikTok, if I put you on the spot. I'm a very spontaneous guy.
Yeah, clearly. You know, but dude, that was such a good time, and the Rock and Metal Combat fucking destroyed that room, and I was so proud to be part of it because, I don't know, it seems like everybody there was a bunch of, well, I don't want to talk shit, but, you know, you guys had a whole different vibe, and it was an honor to be part of it, so thank you, brother.
Well, it was an honor to have you. That's why we brought you up on stage with us, you know? And, you know, and it was just by pure instincts and spontaneous. I said, TikTok, get behind us and flex, because I thought it'd be funny, and goddamn, I was right.
Absolutely.
And my favorite part is at the very end, I told everybody, fuck you. I grabbed the microphone, wiped my ass, and you came out on the video going, what a scumbag.
That is my favorite part, too. Yeah, and that is from the footage that I had some broad record with my phone, so yeah. I was happy to be able to provide that for you.
Yeah, because my video camera ran out of memory, and lucky enough, you got the tail end of it when I wiped the microphone with my ass.
Right. Well, I mean, what else could you say when some fucking creepy guy's rubbing a microphone in his asshole in front of a room of people?
It was like the greatest exclamation point to the whole video. What a scumbag! That ruled.
But I said it with love. You know that.
Oh no, of course I know you said that shit. You know, because you did. Come on, admit it. You love scumbags. You love our show.
I guess if that means I love scumbags, and I mean, usually I'm a fan of assholes, not scumbags. you know?
Well, we're like the different. There's two types of scumbags. We're the scumbags that offend people just by words, and then there's real scumbags that make us look like Disney.
Yeah. You guys are good scumbags, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Ian, I'm still up in the air about. He might be he's a scumbag bag. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
but I love that fat bastard too.
Yeah, he's fucking awesome. But anyway, back to the Beatles. Before we get into it, we're going to talk about each and every album. Which is a lot of albums in only a span of, was it 7 years, I believe?
Yep, absolutely.
They've only been around for 7 years. And I'd like for you to tell me, how did you, your first impression of the Beatles, your first memory of the Beatles? Because, it's a stupid question, Nathan. How did you find out about the Beatles? I mean, you nobody finds out about the Beatles. They're thrusted upon you.
Well, you know what, dude? My first memory that I can really think of is my father. My father was born in the 40s. He grew up like he could have been a huge Beatles fan, but he was kind of right on that cusp where he looked at them as long-haired fucking scumbags.
Right.
And I remember being a kid, and I still remember where we were driving. I was in his truck with him. Not sure how old I was, but he turned to me and he said, son, the Beatles ruined the country. So that is my first memory, and that stuck with me. At the time, I was listening to Ozzy and 80s metal. I was still a kid. I was influenced by my brother, so I was like, yeah, Dad, you're right. Fuck those hippies. But as I got older and I actually listened to the music, the Beatles, they transformed the country. I don't think they ruined it.
And the world.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, dude. So, and the first Beatles thing I ever owned, I'm a bit ashamed to say, I actually stole the cassettes. It was double cassette of Past Masters when I was like 12. And that's the first thing I ever owned, and it was off to the races from there.
Oh, cool. Very cool. And like you, that is my, I can't specifically tell you what song it was, but my very first memory in life was watching a little transistor radio in my cousin's room playing, it was either Help or Hard Day's Night, or maybe even, God damn it, 8 Days a Week. One of those three songs. That's my first memory of life. And I've always liked the Beatles. I was never like, I'd go out, when I started getting into the music, I did buy, what's the name of the greatest hits? That's a blue album, not the red one, the blue one.
Everybody just calls it the blue album. I think it might have some years, but.
Yeah, I bought that and I was just stagnated on that. I never bought any other Beatles album till they started releasing the Beatles on CD. And I went nuts because I didn't go out and buy a Beatles CD. There was a limited edition wooden box that had every Beatles CD in there. My buddy owned a record store and he gave it to me for I think it was like maybe $150, and that shit was like, maybe twice that much. And I just pretty much, I was fucking broke at the time. Pretty much all my fucking money at the moment I bought that box just to get into all the Beatles because I was like, God, this is a band I should get into because everything I've heard from the Beatles I really like. So I think that was the best way for me get into the Beatles. Listen to the whole goddamn thing, and then make up my mind what's my favorite and this and that. And here's a little footnote: the historic Beatles on Ed Sullivan was February 9th, 1964. 1 year after that, I was born. I was born on that day, and I always think of that. Yeah, the Beatles played Ed Sullivan on my birthday.
Wow, you are an old bastard, dude.
Oh, yeah, I'm 53.
No
but
shit.
Think about it, dude. That's 54 years ago that shit happened,
Right, yeah, and here we are sitting here not swinging about them, It's incredible. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And let me ask you, before we get into this, dude, I cried my eyes out. Have you seen the Paul McCartney thing in the car?
I keep seeing it pop up, but I have not watched it yet. I don't.
Nathan, I'm telling you, dude, it's 23 minutes, and I cried like a baby. And I cried from sadness, and then at the very end, I'm not going to give anything away from you. It was such tears of joy. I'm not exaggerating when I say this. It is the coolest thing I ever seen in my life. And you being a Beatles fan, dude, have some tissues ready. And when it ends, the way it ends, you're going to be like, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen in my life. I think you'll say the same thing I did. It is mind-blowing. I'll just give you a rough thing. It's Paul McCartney in Liverpool. And they're driving around Liverpool. At one point, they go to Paul McCartney's house where he grew up in, where he hasn't been there since a kid. They go in there, and he talks about, him writing songs with John and his dad and this and that. And then they go to Penny Lane. They go to the barber shop on Penny Lane. They go to different places. And then, there's some things that were discussed it's just heart-wrenching. And then at the very end, it's like the most coolest, joyous thing you'll see. But it also makes you cry because it's so fucking joyous. It's like tears of joy,
Wow. All right. Well,
yeah, you definitely need to see it.
Yeah, I was going to watch it, and I clicked on. I saw that it was 23 minutes. I was like, it was like before work someday. I'm like, I don't have time for this shit. But on another little side note about crying and whatnot, my buddy and I, Ben, we went to New York City specifically to be there on December 8th, year 2000. And so we were there for the 20th anniversary. Yeah. And, dude, we stood in front of the Dakota, and there were hundreds of people around, and we both cried like little bitches. Wow. It was just so emotional to think of what occurred right there and how the world changed. Mm-hmm. And then we went across the street over to
Strawberry
Fields. And there was a giant circle, and there were people playing acoustic, and hundreds of people all singing Beatles songs. It was a magical day. It was emotional. It was crazy, and we cried like little bitches. But I was happy to be there.
Wow, that's amazing. And I did visit there too when we were on tour and we played New York. That was the one place I wanted to go. That and the building, Physical Graffiti building.
Oh, dude, I'm jealous. I saw that picture. I was like, oh, man.
I was like, because my buddy Carlos from New York, I was like, he took me to both places. I was like, dude, I need to go to Dakota, Strawberry Fields, and the Led Zeppelin building. And he took me to both. I also wanted to go in the corner where Kiss stood to do Dress to Kill, but he was like, well, that's all the way on the other side of town. And he, like you, he's not a Kiss fan. I was like, no, don't worry about it, bro.
Well, let me tell you this. The only, I actually, I'm not a big Kiss guy, but I love my vinyl, and I can appreciate things. I love that fucking album cover, and I actually bought it recently just because the album cover is so fucking badass. The music's pretty good, but whatever. I think the album cover's better.
You talk about Dress to Kill, right?
Yep.
All right, cool. All right.
Yeah.
But what I told you earlier, Nathan, I really would appreciate it if you stay away from being a Kiss fan, because Kiss fans are nerds.
No, I didn't say I was a fan. Fuck Kiss. I like that one album cover. The rest of their covers are shit.
All right, cool. All right, so let's get into it, man. The very first Beatles album, Please Please Me. What do you think of this one?
If I was going to put them all in a fucking best shittiest, this would be second from the bottom. Not a huge fan of Please Please Me. I think, there's definitely some highlights on here. Mainly Lennon tearing his throat apart in Twist and Shout. I've always loved the George tune, even though, he sings it, but he didn't write it. Do You Want to Know a Secret?
Right.
The whole groove of that is fantastic. And Paul, who is got to be one of the best bass players in rock, tearing it up on I Saw Her Standing There. Mm-hmm. So those are kind of the highlights of the album. As a whole, I don't honestly, I don't listen to it all that often. And the song Please Please Me, I don't think is all that great. So I'm surprised that it took off as well as it did, honestly.
Right. I do agree with you. It would go like toward the bottom, and I'd have to think about it as we go through. And don't tell me what's your least favorite. I'm curious to know when we get there. But I love. I Saw Her Standing There. Dude, that shit's like really heavy for its time.
It is.
And I love Chains. I know it's a hokey song, and it's not, a Beatles song. George Harrison sings that one. I love that song. I love and Twist and Shout I like a lot. And Misery I dig too. I mean, Anna, I like a lot off this album, but yeah, it's very primitive. I don't think they really found their sound. Well, the Beatles didn't have a sound. They had sounds. They went through different incarnations, but it's early Beatles, and I appreciate it for what it is. But yeah, we'll have to go through the discography, see if I can find one that I would put lower than this. But yeah, this one is pretty low because of the time. But so you know what I want to do after each time we talk about each album. What's your favorite and least favorite? And I'll tell you right now, my favorite on here is I saw her standing there, and my least favorite, looking through these songs, I would probably have to say probably Boys.
The Ringo.
Yeah, the Ringo song.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. I agree. I saw her standing there is definitely the highlight for me. And as far as the worst, I'm not a fan of Misery.
Okay.
And what the hell is the Ask Me Why?
Yeah.
Yeah, that song, it's forgettable. It's got a whole bunch of harmonica that just fucking loses me. But I like the word you use, primitive. And that's exactly what it is. Obviously they were still young, trying to find their footing and whatnot. But it's definitely a good stepping stone to what's to come,
Exactly. And then we go to the next one, which is with the Beatles. In case I got anything wrong, TikTok, correct me. I'm just going through instinct here.
Yes,
this one's a little more. It's just pretty much part 2 of the last one, but I think it's a little better as far as the songwriting goes. I like It Won't Be Long. The way it starts, it's rocking, and All My Lovin', and it's got some great tunes that are very well known. But again, I would have to say, and I really like their version of "Please, Mr. Postman" on this one. But yeah, and I understand John didn't. But and "Don't Bother Me," I really dug that one, the George tune. But I'd say they're kind of like what Revolver and Rubber Soul are, kind of sister brother albums. I take this one as the same way. What do you think,
dude? Yeah, I mean, once again, I think you're right on the money. They are. They can almost be almost like a double album in a way. I absolutely love the George tune, "Don't Bother Me." I think it's kind of a forgotten gem. As far as some of the covers on "Please, Mr. Postman" is fucking great. And Paul singing "Till There Was You."
Yes.
It's a beautiful ballad. It's one of those early Beatles tunes that I remember early on kind of catching me and being like, wow, this is something a little special. And their covers, dude, in their version of "Roll Over Beethoven."
Right, with Harrison.
It's fucking great. And, you got McCartney, Lennon classics, "All My Lovin'" and I Want to Be Your Man.
Yeah.
So "It Won't Be Long." It's not among their best, but it's definitely, again, it's another step towards brilliance. So I definitely enjoy the album.
So you enjoy this one more than "Please Please Me"?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so do I. What's your favorite on this one?
Kind of tough, but I don't know. I might have to give it to, I think it's a toss-up between "All My Lovin'" and, and the Ringo tune, "I Want to Be Your Man." I love it.
And your least?
"Little Child."
We're almost identical. I mean, my least is "Little Child." My favorite is "All My Lovin'." I absolutely love that fucking song.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's what started them. The first song they ever played on American TV. which started the whole mania on and which is wild because you think of I Want to Hold Your Hand and stuff like that. You don't really think of this song when it comes to huge hit, but this is one that really impacted the world, you know?
Yeah, good point. You know something I just learned today, With the Beatles was released on the same day as the Kennedy assassination.
No shit.
Yeah, I didn't know that. So November 22nd, 1963. So
I did not know that. Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
So what was next? Was it A Hard Day's Night was next?
Yes, sir.
All right, Hard Day's Night. I got to tell you, man, that movie has aged so well. I absolutely love that movie. Is still hilarious, and I don't know which one it was, Siskel or Ebert, one of those two. It's that's one of their favorite movies. You know those critic guys, and yeah, I remember them talking about that was like their favorite musical movie. It's hilarious. It was the Beatlemania already started. Shit was going crazy, and they made this fucking movie that I thought the script was great. It doesn't look dated to me. It's funny. There's a little innuendos of like John Lennon snorting a Coke can. Because everybody knows that Coca-Cola was made by cocaine. That was one of the original ingredients in Coca-Cola when it was invented. Yeah. And again, I will have to say this one is, I think it shows maturity from the first two. They're getting a little more on their own. This one features no cover songs. It's all original Beatles songs, and I think it's fucking awesome. What do you think?
I think it's fucking awesome. A classic, huge leap forward. As far as the film, it's definitely, let me think. It's definitely the best of the Beatles films. But I don't know. I have trouble with old British humor. I don't know. Maybe I just can't get it. I don't know. But it's still enjoyable for me to watch. But some of the things that people just find brilliant or hilarious, I don't know. I just don't fucking get. But that movie played a huge part in my early fandom of the Beatles. I remember being over some chick's house in maybe early high school or junior high or something, and it was on TV, and it was the first time I ever heard I Should Have Known Better. And they're on the train, and the harmonica, and dude, the vocal melody in that, and the harmonies, I was absolutely blown away. This album is incredible. 100%.
Hell yeah. My favorite on here, I'm looking through the songs now. It's a tough one.
Yeah, it is.
Ooh. Yeah, it's definitely toss-ups. I love the title track, and I love I'll Cry Instead. I think is a very underrated gem on this one. Things We Said Today, and I Love Her. Oh man, I fuck it. I Can't Buy Me Love. I'll go with A Hard Day's Night. And my least favorite, Jesus. And I'll tell you why this is my least favorite, because one of the greatest songs to me on the anthology is You Can't Do That. And I don't like it on here. So I would say that's my least favorite, but yet it's my favorite off the anthologies. When it's on the anthology, it's awesome without the backing vocals and stuff like that. It's just an amazing song. But here, I think because of all the, Paul and George mimicking what John is saying, kind of ruins it for me. So I'll say that's my least favorite.
Dude, I love how you fucking said that, because I agree. I love You Can't Do That. I like it on this album, but the anthology version is amazing. And, maybe we'll get to that when we get to the album. There's another one on anthology that just blows away the album track. But, boy, as far as a favorite, holy shit.
It's tough.
Dude, I might have to go with the ballad, If I Fell.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Paul and John just sound like fucking angels on that. Yeah, okay, I got to go with one. So yeah, it's If I Fell's my favorite. It is today, and When I Get Home is the least.
Okay, that's a kind of whatever. Boy, we're connecting here, TikTok. So far.
Yeah, so far.
All right. The next one is it's For Sale, was it?
Yeah, Beatles For Sale.
For Sale. Now this one, you can kind of tell they're kind of getting worn out with all the Beatlemania stuff. They don't even look happy on the album cover.
No.
The vibe of the album is, it still has the happy-go-lucky Beatles stuff, but then it has stuff like, I'm a Loser. And I got to look up the track listing on this because I just remember I'm a Loser. And
Babies in Black and
Babies in Black.
The Party. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some dark songs on here, compared to, what they did before. But this is an album I visit quite often, actually. I really like this album. It is different. And, again, it's showing maturity. It's showing, something that they weren't doing before. And I really dig this album. What do you think?
For whatever reason, in my head, this album was huge for me in high school, and I'm not really sure why, but it's kind of, in a way, the forgotten Beatles album. Much in where I go in my brain, I'm a huge Floyd guy, and around the same time I was obsessed with this album, I couldn't stop listening to The Final Cut by Pink Floyd too, which a lot of people don't dig, and it's kind of the forgotten Roger Waters Floyd album. I fucking love The Final Cut. I love Beatles For Sale. And they clearly just kind of, I think they were overworked. They were like, holy shit, we got to put something out. Half the album is covers.
Yeah.
But the original tunes, you're right, Doc. They were starting to write a little different as far as subject matter. And songs like I'm a Loser and Baby in Black, it's like, I don't know that anybody was really singing about that type of shit or, kind of expressing themselves that way in what's this, 64 still or early 65? What we got? Yeah, this is December of 64. So, yeah, I love this album, covers and all.
Great. Do you have a favorite?
I do. I think it's a fucking no-brainer. Anybody who doesn't agree with me is an idiot.
Well, all right. We'll find out if I'm an idiot or not now.
Well, that is No Reply, the opening song.
Okay, great song, but I'm an idiot.
Stupid.
What's your least favorite?
Mr. Moonlight.
Right. Yeah, I'm not too keen on that one. Well, No Reply would, and I'm a Loser would be very close second. But I'm going to go for a real oddball one here. But I really love this song. Is I'll Follow the Sun. That's my favorite song on the album.
Yeah, dude, let me think. You get some stuff on, but yeah, that is you stick that in with the giant impressive list of awesome McCartney fucking ballads. A beautiful tune. I can't call you stupid for that. So good pick.
All right, cool. All right, next is Help.
Ooh.
Now this movie I can't get into. I tried.
Yeah.
I own it. I have to own it though, because I'm a Beatles fan. But I love the album. This is even more maturity, and believe me, I think this may be like one of the most underrated albums ever. I Just Seen a Face, the title track, The Night Before. Now they started to smoke pot, thanks to Bob Dylan. They're getting a little more heady. Ticket to Ride. Oh man, this is just a fucking great album, And what do you think of this one?
Dude, amazing. Yet another fucking leap forward. This is 7 months later or something.
Yeah, they just shit out albums back then.
Yeah, they do. They just fucking and let's not forget, in between these albums, they're releasing like the greatest singles of all time as well.
Right.
It's fucking mind blowing. Yeah, dude. This album, top to bottom, is incredible. The only small critique I'd have is I wish they didn't include the covers on here. They're good tunes, but it should have just been all original material, I think.
Right. I really do like Act Naturally, and I didn't for the longest time, but it's such a quirky Ringo tune. I mean, yeah, it's a cover, but I always get a kick out of that one, though it's very novelty-ish.
Dude, I love it too.
Me too. And I was so happy when I saw Ringo live and he played it. I was like, oh wow, I got to see Ringo sing this, once. It was fucking great. But as far as favorites on this one, I have to go. I mean, it's trendy and all, but man, definitely Help is my favorite song on here. And very close second is I Just Seen a Face, because I think that song is just fucking amazing. My least favorite would probably be God, and it's not a bad song, but I'll go with You Like Me Too Much.
I knew you were going there. Poor George.
Yeah. But I liked I Need You,
Yeah, that's a wow, shit. Which George tune would I take? Wow. They're kind of on par with each other, but all right, my man, I do feel like Help is kind of the most mature song on here, although You Gotta Hide Your Love Away is pretty fucking...
Oh, yeah. That's another one, yeah.
Yeah, that's Lennon trying to be Dylan. And I remember listening to you guys on the Rock and Metal Combat talking about this album, and I'm pretty sure it was you. You were beating off over The Night Before, which I love
that song.
I was beating off to you beating off to it. I was like, wow, somebody else. I mean, wow. Paul sounds incredible in that, but fuck. Oosh. All right. I'm going with Ticket to Ride's the best song, and Dizzy Miss Lizzy is the worst.
Okay. All right. It is a bit repetitious.
Yeah, it is.
That's all it does, the whole song, right?
Yeah, dude, just end the album with the most beautiful ballad ever being fucking Yesterday.
Yeah.
And really, you put on Dizzy Miss Lizzy, that was a bad move, but whatever.
You know what? I'm changing my words now. I didn't realize, I forgot about Dizzy Miss Lizzy.
Yeah, it's bad.
Yeah, it's really bad. And, John Lennon, in the 70s, he played some show where he actually played this song.
Yeah. What?
Which is odd.
What the fuck? You get to see John Lennon in concert, and he takes up 3-4 minutes and plays fucking Dizzy Miss Lizzy. Come on.
Yeah, and it's a cover, no less.
Oh, God. Terrible.
What do you think of It's Only Love from this album?
Dude, all right, I know where you're going with this. John has said it's one of the worst songs he ever... Dude, the song is fucking unbelievable.
Love it.
I'm a mediocre guitar player, and I have a Beatles book. They've made it so you can play any Beatles song solo on an acoustic guitar. That is one of my go-tos every single time. It's a beautiful song. So, I don't know, Paul... or John's, he's a whack job, so I couldn't disagree with him more.
Another thing about John Lennon, I think, he badmouthed the Beatles a lot because at the time, I think he would have changed his tune if he would have lived, because I think at the time he just wanted to promote his solo career so bad, to make everybody out there think, the Beatles had a lot of clunkers, and and here I am promoting my new album, and just to like drive in the point. I mean, I'm not saying he didn't, he probably didn't think that song sucked, but I think he was very, very unfair with a lot of Beatles songs, because you can hear it on YouTube. He goes down lists of Beatles songs he thinks sucked, and I'm like, man, those are some cool songs. What are you talking about,
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe he was, he's trying to put some space between he and, probably Paul and that whole deal and Beatlemania and, we were just a band that made it very, very big. That's all. It's like, okay, dude, you were the fucking Beatles, you don't need to poo-poo it. But,
yeah,
and I think you're right. Had he lived, I think his tune would have changed considerably,
And can you imagine those stadium tours? Because you know it would have happened.
Oh gosh, I hope not. I couldn't imagine. Ugh. But yeah, probably. I wish they had taken up. Was it the Saturday Night Live guy who offered $3,000 to?
And they almost did it.
Yeah, almost did it. That would have been fucking cool.
Yeah, that would have been nice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we go into my favorite era of the Beatles, the middle section of the Beatles, with my favorite album. And we're talking on Skype now, and as I look at my Skype, your picture on Skype is Rubber Soul.
Yes, it is.
So something tells me you like this album.
It's all right.
Yeah, this is the album right here for me, man. I mean, it's like, Revolver's right there with it, but this one is where they really fucking change shit up, even the way it starts, Drive My Car, Norwegian Wood and Nowhere Man. Oh my God. There's In My Life, my all time favorite Beatles song. Spoiler alert, what my favorite song is on here. And the much hated by John Lennon, Run for Your Life, which I love as well.
Yeah.
And, man, there's a lot, there's just top quality shit on here, And then there's one I don't like on here, which I'll talk about when it's time to talk about my least favorite. But every song on here, except for one, I actually love, What do you think?
Well, I must say that any true fan of the Rock and Metal Combat podcast should already know what your least favorite is and what your favorite fucking song is on here. That's right. But if they're just joining the club, then hey, welcome. Yeah, dude. This is we started smoking lots of weed at this point. Really starting to think out of the box as far as lyrics and whatnot, and bringing in different instruments and all that type of shit. Yeah, like you, there's only one bad track on here. The album is absolutely incredible. I think it should be in the top 20 list of all albums recorded ever in the history of music. So.
Oh, so, as I said earlier, TikTok, I'm 53. I have a horrible memory. Your least favorite's my least favorite?
Yep. And I remember the Ayatollah was horrified because he loved the fucking.
Ian. You gotta love Ian.
It was great because the whole episode, we were all beating off over every single song, and then he started off. He spoke about this song, and he's like, "Oh, I think it's fucking great," and I was chomping at the bit. I was like, "Oh, finally, I get to call him an idiot." And fucking yeah, so.
Yeah, it's my least favorite as well. Wait is the song.
Yes,
and my favorite is In My Life. In My Life, to me, I mean, and it's hard because there's so many great songs on here, but there's something In My Life. I mean, just the title alone, it's a song that really speaks from the soul. And, when you get my age, you do go through many deaths, and, and you really do appreciate all the good people in your life. And I think John just hit the mark on the lyrics on this one. And the song is beautiful. It's, it's mellow and everything, but it's the lyrics to this song that really sell it to me. And of course, I mean, the greatest thing about the Beatles to me, look, I may sit here and say Black Sabbath's the best band in the world, but dude, nobody wrote melodies and stuff songs like the Beatles. To me, they were the best, and in a way, the Beatles are the best band. Sometimes I think I'm kidding myself, but, yeah, In My Life, it's just beautifully, beautifully executed by John's lyrics. And I just absolutely love it. And then there's Norwegian Wood. That's just phenomenal. And Girl, we didn't talk about Girl. That I think is very underrated. Oh. And I believe John even said in the 70s he liked Girl, which is weird.
Wow. Okay.
So what we know your least favorite. What's your favorite on here?
Oh man. Well, I got to say, I think In My Life, and I don't think I said this in the other podcast, but honestly, it suffered from a little bit of the burnout. But if I really was honest and I think about it, it's probably the greatest ballad ever written. I'm not even sure it's a fucking ballad. Yeah, I think it is the greatest ballad ever written. But my favorite song on Rubber Soul, fuck. And it's tough, dude, because this shit changes all the time. But I'm gonna go with "I'm Looking Through You."
Ah, great. And I saw McCartney last year. He played it.
Yeah.
I was like, holy shit, he's playing that song. That was great. Okay, before we get into the next one, I also want to bring up something that you touched upon earlier. And with the song that starts this album, Drive My Car, holy fuck, that bass line. And something that, man, dude, is there anybody more underrated as a bass player than Paul McCartney?
No, I don't think so at all, because with all the praise that McCartney gets, his bass playing is like at the fucking bottom of the list, which is retarded, because as the Beatles albums progress, his bass playing gets more and more insane. Yeah, I think, you hear everything about John Entwistle and fucking all these other guys that did the best, John Paul Jones, whatever. Paul McCartney should absolutely have a place in the top 5, the top 3 rock bass players of all time, easily. Even if he just played the shit, that would be one thing. But the fact that he's writing all these songs.
And singing and playing that stuff at the same time.
Yeah, and singing. Yeah, it's a whole nother level, dude. He's up there with, like Geddy Lee in my book. I think fucking Geddy Lee and Steve Harris and fucking Paul McCartney are the best fucking bass players ever.
There you go. And what's so good about Paul's playing, it's not really a show-off factor. It's an in-the-pocket factor. Every single note that guy does during songs makes those songs. It enhances the songs.
I think this is actually perfect timing. If I believe I could be wrong. I think between Rubber Soul and Revolver, where we're going next, they put out Rain and Paperback Writer.
Yes.
Dude, the bass on fucking Rain? Are you fucking serious with that?
Yep. And Paperback Writer.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's no joke. He's the man.
Exactly. Was this around the time he died?
Let me think. I think he died after Revolver. Nah, I don't know. All I know is that the replacement they got for Paul was fucking pretty badass on the bass.
Yeah, exactly. Also,
writing songs.
And notice, Paperback Writer and Rain is during Rubber Soul or Revolver?
I think it came out between the two.
And I know you've seen the video. Notice Paul has a chipped tooth.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. You ever notice that?
Is that because he's not Paul?
Yeah.
Huh. Another clue. Fuck.
Yeah, exactly. And he wasn't wearing shoes on Abbey Road. I mean, how's that a connection? I don't know, but
he's definitely dead then.
Yeah, that proves it.
Yes.
All right. Now we go into Revolver, the trippy album.
Hey-o.
Well, one song's very, very trippy. But, again, it to me, it's pretty much the sister album of Rubber Soul. But I do feel like there is still some stuff on here that's a little more evolutionary from Rubber Soul. They go a little out there. But it has that Rubber Soul vibe to me. I mean, there are times, even to this day, and I've been listening to these albums nonstop since the late 80s when the CDs came out. I get confused what song's on what sometimes with these two albums.
Yeah,
go ahead.
It's understandable. There's kind of a lot of the same, I don't know, vibe or in sound. Kind of a lot of acoustic-y shit, too. So, yeah I get you.
And, oh, man, starting off with a George Harrison song, where later on John Lennon was saying, you know what, I wrote a lot of that song, but I just threw him a bone. He did say that, and who knows? But It's one of the best George Harrison songs. And then you have the incredible Eleanor Rigby, which was very influential to Ronnie James Dio, actually. Because at the time, Ronnie James Dio was in doo-wop bands.
Yeah.
And when he heard Eleanor Rigby, he was like, wow, a song about death. And that really, like, propelled him into becoming Ronnie James Dio.
No shit.
Yeah, which, again, is like the connection of the Beatles and metal, I mean, because the Beatles are connected to everything. Every form of music that's come out after the Beatles was influenced by the Beatles, except for shit music.
You know what? You're right, and I believe that's science there, Dr. Puck.
Exactly.
Yes.
And and this album, man, oh my God. I mean, like I said, it's so close to Rubber Soul. It's like, pretty much, neck and neck for my favorites. Because this is the era of my favorite Beatles. And believe me, it gets fucking awesome after this. It doesn't go down. That's for damn sure. But I think here is like the part of the Beatles that really connected to me more than all the other stuff. But I still enjoy the other stuff. I just absolutely love this album. What do you think?
Dude, I agree. It's I don't know. It's Rubber Soul like 2.8 or something. It's like it's like it, but it's a fucking once again, it's another step. It is full of all kinds of much like the White Album. You got a little bit of everything on here. The difference between track to track is just stark, and it's incredible. It has maybe a couple of my favorite Beatles tunes on it, and probably the best in my eyes George song. So Revolver is fucking classic, and there's a reason why it bounces. Revolver and Sgt. Pepper's is like the greatest albums ever. So,
and my favorite on this album is not one very much talked about, but I think it's just fucking amazing. Is For No One. That's my favorite song off the album. It's hard for me to pick a least favorite. I'd probably, I Want to Tell You, but the other two George songs are kind of like, I don't think they're up to par with the rest of it. Love You Too. But, probably Love You Too is my least favorite. Or, I know it's going to sound blasphemous saying this, but I was never a fan of Yellow Submarine either.
Right.
But, whatever. What will be your favorite off here?
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm going with For No One, dude. That fucking song is, it is incredible, and it has always been my favorite on this fucking album. A close second would be She Said, She Said.
Oh wow! I like that one.
Oh my god, and that fucking guitar riff.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And my least, Love You Too. I don't really mind. It's one of the few sitar tunes that I think kind of work. This might not be a popular choice, but I'm going with fucking Dr. Robert.
Oh, I like that one. See, now we finally disagree.
Good.
Good.
My opinion's right, so.
Yeah, that's true. I'm an idiot.
Yeah. So.
All right, now we go into the historic and what most people consider their masterpiece. And it is one that when a band releases like their best album, they go, oh, that's their Sgt. Pepper's, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Wow. You want to talk about a transformation. Paul even said, look, I wanted to like get away from the Beatles and make this fictitious band called Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. And this is when they stopped touring. I think mentally when they went in the studio, they mentally went in to do something where they couldn't recreate live. And wow, what an album. I may be a little more of a Rubber Soul Revolver guy, but this, and maybe it's just me, trying to be countercultural, saying, well, it's not their best, but it's fucking great. I absolutely love Sgt. Pepper. It's revolutionary because it's the Beatles being somebody else and still making it work. They actually went out of their comfort zone and did an album that's not Beatles like at all. Except for a hint here and there. But oh my God, what a master! Yeah, it is definitely a masterpiece, and worth all the praise it gets. What do you think?
I agree. It's worth all the praise. It was a complete game changer. It was kind of the beginning of McCartney kind of grabbing hold of the reins in a way. It was all kind of McCartney's idea, and what a fucking idea it was. I mean, the idea of, all right, guys, we do not have to be restrained by the limitations of a live concert. And that idea just opened up the floodgates for him. And the difference between fucking Sgt. Pepper and you just go back 2 years, I mean, it's like Peppers came from another fucking galaxy, sound wise and songwriting. But it's, I don't know. It's tough to put it into words, and this is why the Beatles are what they are. It is an incredible album, and I don't, not to hint too much, but I feel like you and I might be have the same vibe as. It is a fantastic album, but it might not be the best.
Yeah, and it may be us fooling ourselves, but I can't help it. I identify more with the two albums prior. But there's stuff on here like Fixing a Hole, which is like, who the fuck ever wrote a song like that?
Yep.
Like, it's unorthodox, but it's great, and it has like a pop sensibility, but it's just so original from a band that sang "Love Me Do."
And how about something like Getting Better? Like, holy shit, Paul's talking about beating up his woman. That's pretty wild. And then
was it Paul or John? Oh no, you're right. It is Paul.
Yeah, it's Paul. And then a tune like Lovely Rita. Like, really, you gonna write a song about a fucking meter maid? That's absolutely beautiful. And and you can even go to something like She's Leaving Home, which for me was always the toughest track to get into. But as I've gotten older, I appreciate it so much more. And it's just kind of another, I don't know, kind of another little feather in their cap or whatever the fuck to the Beatles just doing different shit. It's an incredible album.
Gorgeous. Are you a fan of Cheap Trick?
I am, but I'm not like I haven't gotten into them like deeply at all. I'm almost like I'm like a Poser fan.
Okay, well, the Cheap Trick performed this whole album live.
Right.
They did it. They did it perfectly. They even had, I forgot who it was that was in the studio with the Beatles doing this album. One of the engineers was very much involved in that. And boy, they nailed this album. If you hear it live, they did recreate this album live. But also, you also have to take the effect that was in the 2000s. You couldn't do this shit in the 60s.
No fuck.
With all modern technology. But man, you got to hear Robin Zander sing "She's Leaving Home." It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm going to check that out. And on that note, are you familiar with the Fab Faux? FAUX. They're like they used to show up on the Stern Show years ago. They're a Beatles tribute group or something, but they're full of really accomplished musicians. I think the main guy is it Max Weinberg or something?
Okay, the guy from the Bruce Springsteen band?
Yeah,
the drummer.
Yeah, Buck Springsteen. But what they do is they recreate all this shit, 100%, and it's impressive as hell. Like, they'll even have somebody there with an alarm clock to hit it during a day in life,
right.
Down to the little tiniest things, which is Yeah, right back to you. No way you could have played this shit live in '67, which was the whole point of the fucking album. And another cool thing about this is, and I'm fairly certain that this is the case. This is the first album that ever included lyrics.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, the back cover. I'm gonna have to go with the obvious here as my favorite. The masterpiece that ends the album. Day in the Life to me is just unbelievably emotional and out there. Again, like what I was saying earlier about Fixing a Hole. What song was structured like this back then? It was like this is like a game changer right here.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Day in the Life is just phenomenal. And yeah, and it's obvious for me to say Within You, Without You to be my least favorite, but you know, it is, you know. I just can't get into it. And there are some people that actually say that's their favorite song on the album.
Yeah, idiots.
I think they're being countercultural.
Of course they are. Give me a break. Yeah, you look at this list of songs and you say that's the fucking best. Okay.
Yeah, better than Day in a Life.
Yeah, okay, dude.
And another funny little note is the song When I'm 64 was one of the first Paul McCartney songs he ever wrote.
I've heard that.
Yeah, he changed the lyrics, but it was like, you know, probably the second or third song he ever wrote. It was When I'm 64, and they changed the lyrics and put it on here. And John Lennon went on to say that song's granny music.
Yeah. He said that about a lot of Paul tunes.
Yeah.
which I get in a way, but granny music, who gives a fuck? Those songs are incredible. You said it about several more that are coming up that are all fucking awesome. So
it's awesome granny music.
Exactly, dude. If my granny was fucking jamming to this, I'd be psyched.
Exactly.
Yep.
And what would be your favorite on here?
Well, seeing as how I'm a total asshole, I'm gonna have to say Within You. No, dude. It's a fucking Day in the Life, which is probably the greatest Beatles song ever fucking written.
Yeah,
perhaps the greatest song ever written. So much went into it. It is the epitome of a fucking Lennon-McCartney collaboration with the help of fucking the genius George Martin, who created the whole fucking swirling craziness in the middle and at the end with the violins and whatnot, down to the final note in the piano. I think it's an A that just goes on and on. Yeah, it's maybe the greatest song ever fucking made. And my least favorite, yeah, I've never been a fan of it. Lennon can fucking blow me. I don't like Being for the Benefit of Mr. Kite.
Wait. You like that less than With or Without You?
Yep.
Wow.
Only because I dig the lyrics for Within and Without You.
Okay, interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, I like that song. I like that. It's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a cool tune, but whatever. I'm not sure what's next. TikTok, is the White Album the next one?
Oh, dude. Next would be fucking Magical Mystery Tour.
Yeah, you're right. Magical Mystery Tour.
Load up for the fucking tour. Now that's a great cover that I've heard many times by Cheap Trick. Holy shit, do they kill this song?
Oh yes, and also a little side note on Cheap Trick too. That last note on Day in the Life, that long piano note.
Yeah.
George Martin went on to record an album with them called All Shook Up, where the album starts with that chord coming back in.
No shit.
Yeah, and then going into this song they got called Stop This Game. Yeah, it's kind of purposely. And you got to hear the song on there called World's Greatest Lover, which is a total John Lennon Beatles ripoff song. But, okay, Magical Mystery Tour. Roll up. Yeah. It is, but correct me if I'm wrong, because this is the impression I get from this album. Is this like an album where they didn't really go in the studio? It's just like leftover stuff, with the exception maybe a couple tracks?
Yeah, kind of. Paul had an idea. Of course, he's on fire. We gotta make another fucking movie. So I believe half of it is original shit written for the movie, and then they threw some singles on, which is Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, All You Need Is Love, I think.
Your mother should know, probably, right?
It's either that or Baby You're a Rich Man, which might have been the B-side to All You Need Is Love. I'm not sure. Man, I really should know this, Dr. Fuck. But
that's okay, man. We're talking as fans here. This ain't a Beatles nerd it's like, that's one thing about Viervolt stuff. We speak from the heart, not from the books.
You know what?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's, I get bored listening to, like, oh, this and that and this. No, I want to hear people talk about from the heart, not like, oh, well, this is the first song in A, I could care less.
Yeah, well, it's the only thing I'm thinking. I'm getting a little, because I'm thinking of Past Masters, right? And I don't know. I don't remember fucking Strawberry. I don't think
Strawberry Fields was recorded during Sgt. Pepper. I believe it was a single before Sgt. Pepper. I think it came out. I think it came out after, between. Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think then they stuck it on the Magical Mystery Tour. I like they did back then. I think there was a UK and an American. I think in the American release they made it a full fucking album and added Strawberry Fields and Penny Lane, which was a double A-side single. I know that.
Yes.
And then I'm a little unsure about, like, Hello Goodbye and I'm the Walrus. And All You Need Is Love. I know they recorded that live for that fucking global,
right,
whatever the fuck it was, charity thing or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
What do you think of this album?
Well, I think it's. I mean, fuck. I'm looking at the track listings now, and it's a masterpiece, of course. There's a couple tunes on it that I'm like, whatever. But, like, holy shit. This is it's fucking brilliance. Perhaps some of the most well-known and catchiest songs ever written are on Magical Mystery Tour. Are you a fan?
I am a fan, but I feel this album is a bit disjointed. I don't think it's a cohesive effort. I don't think, like I said, it kind of feels like a song that was kind of an album that was slapped together without, like, a concept.
Yeah. And
there are 3 songs on here I don't care for, but the rest, I agree, are masterpieces. They're amazing songs, and the 3 I'm not too crazy about is Flying Blue Jay Way and Baby You're a Rich Man.
You son of a bitch! I wanted to guess.
I'm sorry.
All right, I knew it was going to be Flying Blue Jay Way, and really, fucking Baby You're a Rich Man, dude.
You know what? And All You Need Is Love is kind of like whatever to me too.
Yeah, I'm a little burnt out on it, and it's a little too fucking hippie and fruity for me. But at the same time, it is still kind of a masterpiece in a way. Honestly, I think what makes All You Need Is Love is shit. Is it right? It's the Paul part at the end. The here now.
Yeah. Oh, no, that's Hello Goodbye, isn't it?
Fuck, it is. Yeah, all right. All right, yeah, that's the best part of Hello Goodbye. Yeah, All You Need Is Love. Yeah, whatever. Hippie bullshit. Yeah, but I've always loved Baby You're a Rich Man. The way it begins with the oh my God, dude. I just think it's fantastic.
Okay, I always just got a weird vibe from that song, It's I don't know. I just don't think it's doesn't hit the mark for me.
So what's your favorite?
My favorite I'll have to go with I Am the Walrus because it's just so weird. And it's just so out there, and I just dig it. It's very hooky without the conventional pop sensibilities to it. I think it's awesome. My least favorite is, which is the one that goes, oh, is that Flying?
that is Flying, which is as far as I'm aware, and I'm pretty sure, is the only Beatles instrumental. ever recorded, like for an album. So.
Oh, you're right. And as I'm looking at the track listing here, it's credited to all 4 members.
Yeah, which I believe is one of 2 songs credited to all 4. I think the other one is coming up on
White Album?
Abbey Road, I think.
Oh okay. Interesting.
Look
forward to hearing what that is.
Might be getting confused with the no. What I'm thinking of, it's the one on Abbey Road is one of 2 where all 4 are singing together at the same time.
Oh, I know which one that is.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the one that's just vocals.
Well,
Oh no, you're right. It has some stuff going on with it.
Yeah. Well, during the medley there.
Yeah. So you have a favorite?
I think I got to go with the obvious. I Am the Walrus. From what I heard, it was John kept like a pad of paper by his bed, and he just wrote fucking gibberish, like stream of conscience type of bullshit. But boy, does it work. The song is, it's a masterpiece, and it is probably the only reason why you would ever watch Magical Mystery Tour, because
yeah,
fucking movie is terrible.
What the fuck is that movie about, man?
Exactly, dude. They were so fucked up and so full of themselves. Yeah, that's the only reason I ever watch. And yeah,
it looked like they were just making it up as they went along. You know, I don't think that shit had a script.
No,
they were like, all right, next scene, what do we do this one? Let's just do this.
I hope
throw spaghetti on a fucking table.
Yeah, I hope it didn't have a fucking script, dude. You kidding me? Yeah.
It's out there.
And, yeah, I mean, my least favorite's got to be Flying, followed by Blue Jay Way, even though I dig that song. It's got a great kind of vibe to it. It's a cool George song. I dig it, but whatever. Flying is definitely the clunker of the album, and it's not even that bad.
So there you go. That's part 1. Yes, I just cut it off right in the middle. Part 2's coming up soon. And check this out. This is the part where I talk about the reviews and comments. And look at this. I just went to the Vieira Vault YouTube page, and it's been banned for 3 months because of the Rick Fox interview, and it doesn't explain what was done on the Rick Fox interview that was, banned for. So I'm like confused, and it doesn't have no option where I can write them and say, hey, why did you ban this? So it just had the option where I said, I acknowledge, and it says in 3 months I can get my YouTube back. So I don't think you can see this on YouTube, this episode, at least for now. But, I do have some Podbean comments, and from WW Nations, he said, if I cash in some SNH green stamps, can I get some official licensed Vieira Vault themed underwear? Let me work on that. I'll get back to you. And he also said, waiting for the new Vieira Vault is like waiting to get into a girl's pants. The payoff is awesome, but the wait sucks. Blue balls. I really do apologize for that, WW Nations, but as you see, I'm going to be on a little bit of a roll now, but let's just hope I get some more episodes done before I air all these that I got. And I am going to spread it out. Don't expect a weekly thing here. So, and also no iTunes reviews. Hey, what's up with that? Come on, give me some iTunes reviews. Anyway, so, yeah, man, I'm banned on YouTube. What the hell did we talk about, me and Rick Fox, to get banned? I don't know. Anyway, let's go into the vault. All right, since it is a Beatles episode, I have a bunch of CDs here that I bought in the stores years ago that's demos and different takes and stuff like that. And it was really hard to choose. I just went through a bunch of them, trying to pick which song to play. So I figured, let me just play this one. It's from the era, and I think it rocks. It's pretty damn cool. It's rare, and it's take one, I believe, or take one or take two of Paperback Writer. So here we go. Live in the studio, the Beatles. Boy, what an odd ending. Anyway, that's it for the VR Vault this week, and I did find an option to write YouTube and ask them, why was this taken down? Please, somebody explain this to me. So let's see what happens. Hopefully they'll let this episode go up, because I'm uploading it now and I'm sending it to YouTube, so keep your fingers crossed that it does end up on YouTube. So anyway, thank you so much for listening, everybody, and if you're hearing my voice now, I rule. No, you rule. Ah, we all rule. And I swear, the next girlfriend I have, you can bang her. That's how much I love you all. Till next time, guys, Beatles Discography Part 2 with TikTok, man. In a week or two. See you then. Later.